Why'd you do this?
There's so much
I know
don't
why. Budget.
like about that show.
I know why. It's all budget.
Budget.
When they do these things, it's budget. I'm telling you. That's all it is.
Yeah, there's so much I don't like about that show, and Barry breakdancing is definitely very high on that list for me. So
I got you.
that's very. It was just like luckily for me, hold on. Luckily for me, I record it. I don't watch it live. So in doing that, when I see stupid stuff like
you
that,
skip.
Fast forward right
Oh
through.
no. I don't watch it live only because I can get over the commercials. That's the only reason I don't watch it live. I wait until the episode's over. So
Superman and Lois. Every scene that has to do with homeboy in love with that depressed chick. Fast right through it.
Oh,
right through it.
Come on.
Right to Superman. Like I'm here. I still will never understand why they couldn't give us a show that was about Superman and Lois and their infant children. That way the focus could just be on Superman and Lois. But once I saw that their kids were like grown, I was just like, shit, I'm gonna have to care about these kids. I don't care about these kids. I don't. We're what, 5 weeks in, and I'm just like, you gotta
I care that I want the other one to get powers as well. I'm tired of him just like I like him. I no, it's not gonna care. I'm just saying I just want him to have powers. Like, please give him something.
I respect that. For me, I want the kids to just say, you know what? I'm gonna go live back in Metropolis with our uncle or aunt, and you guys just take care of the show for us. So we are live on YouTube, guys. Everyone tuning in to us live on YouTube. This is us pre-gaming while we get everybody in. I wanted to go live a little early just to make sure we didn't run into the issue we did last time we tried to go on YouTube, where Zoom was just like, I am not having it. Absolutely not. What's up, Dom? What's up, Jamie?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
All right. I'm just waiting on a few more people before we get the ball rolling. Oh, excuse me.
I literally just got done watching the episode probably like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I took too long of a nap today, and I woke up, I was like, ooh, all right, well.
Yeah, I did that the other night. It was like 6 o'clock. I blinked, and then it was 11. I was just like, what just happened? Like, was that sleep? I don't even know what that thing is. Oh, my goodness. You just kind of have like those outer body experiences to where it's just like your body's like, hey, I've been telling you for 24 hours I need to sleep. You didn't get my last 2 messages. I'll do it for you.
Yep, just shut down. System shutting down.
Yeah, I'll do it for you. Don't even worry about it. I'll take care of it for you. What was I gonna say? Loki blew it out of the park with the best first episode. Yeah, for sure. That's how you start a show. I don't know why I'm typing it when I
agree.
said it in response. Shout out to listener Jim. I'm gonna watch it again later. I only watched this once over. I was telling Trayvon I'm not doing the whole theories thing. I'll leave that to Dom. I'm not going fishing in this series. So one time was good enough for me. I understood it, picked everything up, solid on it. That was all I needed. I wasn't going back. I wasn't going back to do it again. So I did want to ask you guys this. So I looked this up earlier because I was really curious about this, and we'll talk about this for a second. Then we'll get into starting the show. When you guys are thinking, like when you're alone and you're thinking, do you hear a voice saying what you're thinking in your head?
Yep.
Yeah.
See, this question, I think about this a lot because like when I start thinking like, oh yeah, I can hear my own voice in my head, then it's like, am I actually hearing it or like what's going on? Yes, okay, and I start getting confused.
So this is why this is interesting to me. So a study like there's a study about this, and it says only 50% of the world actually hear the voice, right? But it said 25% of the world can't really differentiate if it's their voice or if they're literally hearing a whole nother voice in their head. And I'm like, I don't know who those people are, but I've never experienced that. I've never been like, oh man, like I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, oh man, you gotta like pick up paper towels. And I'm like, whoa, whose voice was that just in my head? Like,
no, I've never had that kind of experience. Like, whoa, what, does that me? Who was that?
Right?
Like,
yeah,
no,
like,
I've never had that
in my life. Like, what is this?
Yeah,
so everyone has that.
Mine is so bad that like I'll be thinking of something and then I don't know if I said it out loud or not. And I'll be looking around like,
that's
did I say that
that's
out
me.
loud?
You know, it's one of those loud personality kind of things where it's like you're thinking it so loud, you're just like, somebody definitely heard me just say that. It's like, oh, nobody did? Okay, like, all right, okay. I'm clearly just crazy to myself, not a problem. Welcome in, Tia. We were just talking about before we get started. I was saying how I checked out a study that said 50% of the world, when they're thinking alone, can hear their thoughts, but like verbally within their head. So like if you're thinking like, oh man, I gotta go pick up some stuff from the store or whatever, but you're not verbally saying it out loud, you can hear yourself saying it like within your head. And I feel like from Tia's face, Tia's like, I've never experienced that. So you might be the other 50% who literally just thinks it and your mind's just like, I don't need to repeat it. You know it. You got it. You're good. But the other 50% really just, they could hear it. I think the rest of us were like, we could definitely hear it for sure. We can't hear you. You got to reconnect your audio.
Now talk back.
Reconnect your audio. But while Tia does that, I'm gonna go ahead and set this up for us. All righty. Get you guys the premiere of our new intro for the MCR. I want to get
excited.
A lot bigger here. All right. Make sure Tia's sound is good. Go ahead, say something, Tia. No, we cannot hear. No. So see, right now, I was thinking like, all right, I'm going to wait till Tia gets that fixed. But I swear to you, I literally heard me say that in my head. I really want to know more. I really want to see if more people in the comments, let us know. Do you guys you hear yourself? Wait, what's listener Jim saying? Oh, no, listener Jim. No Mephisto talk here. You don't have to worry about that. No Mephisto. No, sorry. Not here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this. I'm trying to wait to see if Tia pops back in. I didn't want to do it without her. Let's see if she pops back in. Give her 1 second. Oh, shoot. If she is, it's not going to let me do it until I snap out of that. Okay, hold on. All right. Let me see if I can invite her this way. Bring her in. All right. Let's see if she pops up this way. All right. Not yet. All right. We're going to start talking and then wait. Okay, here she goes. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right, come on, Tia. Your audio will be working fine. Let's see. She's in here. I know she is. There we go.
There we go. We can see her.
Connecting the audio. All right. You good, Tia?
No, I still can't hear you.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. Don't leave yet, Tia. Let me play our intro. And then we'll try to figure out what's going on with your audio. I want to make sure you see it. All right. So, everybody, this is our premiere of our new intro for the MCR. Huge shouts out to Dakota and everybody involved. You'll see a lot of faces. So thank you to everybody. And here it is.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're back.
Hey everyone, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the MCR. Join us as we venture through time as we prepare to break down Disney Plus's brand new series, Loki.
Nice.
Shout out to Dakota. That was awesome. And huge thank you to everybody involved. You guys did amazing. Appreciate it very, very, very much. AJ got a fresh cut. I can definitely see that. I got scared for a second. I thought someone broke into AJ's house. Yes. So huge shouts out to Dakota, and again, thank you to everybody involved for that video. But this is the MCR. We are the MCR of the MCU. We break down the MCU shows. You guys should know this. We've done 2 so far. I do not know why that was so loud. Wow. We are back after a short, kind of medium hiatus. Hopefully, we won't have to be gone long again. Loki will lead us right into Black Widow. Black Widow should lead us right into What If, and then so on and so forth. All right, so I want us to start off with our thoughts on the first episode of this Loki series. Starts off crazy, as you would expect Loki to. Trayvon, what were your thoughts on the on this first episode of Loki?
So I really like the concept of it. I like what they're doing. I like that they're allowing them to really change how we think about the MCU. It makes you, as soon as a lot of these concepts you see, you're like, oh, well, what does that mean? Did they even mean anything? What, like, how does he ever get out of here? Does he go back? Like, how does this, like, it seems like he's changing and seeing his whole life, I guess that would do that to you. So how does this even, I come to start thinking, how is this even going to end with him? That's where I want to get to. Okay, great start. I can't wait to see what happens now with him. And I'm like, well, if he knows all this information, he can't possibly go back, right? So I don't know. I'm just really curious to see how this show goes. I called it a very cute start on Twitter this morning. That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, cute never has the meaning people mean for it to have. Whenever you're saying picture like you just did like a really good job at something, and it's like, man, how was that? And they're like, it was cute. It's like, you didn't like it, did you? Like,
yeah, it seems like a disrespect a little bit.
It does seem like it's a little backhanded with cute. I just noticed that cute never holds up the way that it's supposed to. If it's not directed to like a little child, it never has the impact that it's supposed to have.
It's like you tried your best. It was
right.
Okay. You tried your best.
Right. Yeah, you tried. You know.
Like, oh, that was so cute. You thought you did like, really good.
Good season opener. Look at you.
Something you put like a macaroni thing on the fridge for, like a little macaroni painting. Oh, that's cute.
I will say, now that you mentioned that, my biggest fear was that episode of Family Guy when Lois and Peter were making fun of Stewie's macaroni drawing, and then they were like, let's spit on it. Like right after Stewie left, I so freaked out because I'm like, have my parents ever done that? Like something I did just went,
this is
what
trash.
Is this garbage? Like we cannot hang this up on the fridge. They cannot know our child did this. But no, Trayvon, you made some good points. I will say the biggest thing that hit for me in this episode, as listener Jim is saying here in the comments, was the emotions for Loki. It was very much an emotional roller coaster. And I appreciate what they did within this episode because it took everything away that I thought they were going to make us kind of have to go through a journey of, which is what Loki are we going to get? Because we know what Loki we just got. We had spent over 10 years redeeming him. Mm-hmm. Are we going to have to spend another 10 years redeeming this Loki? And they found a way to do it within an episode, to where he was kind of just like, man, I am a pretty shitty person, huh? Like he kind of, Michael Jackson man in the mirror moment, and he was just like, I should probably fix some stuff. So I appreciated that. But Dom, I'm gonna go to you. What were your thoughts on this first episode?
Yeah, I definitely like that he got humbled a bit. He thought like, I'm gonna run shit. I'm in here. What are you gonna do about it? And nothing's powers don't work. He realized that he's essentially insignificant. He thinks he's this god, and they're like, I mean, kinda like he don't really matter that much. And I do like that. It's kind of taken the route of like, if it's kind of like a Doctor Who route that, like, from the trailers we saw, I automatically thought like Doctor Who, very the time travel companion type of feel, and now it's kind of that we're seeing it. It's gonna unfold that way. That he's not a time lord, but it might as well be. And Owen Wilson, he's always good, man. I don't know. I know he plays himself. I know he does, but it's good every time. Like I can't, like I don't like every time he's on screen. Like he's not about to charm me. He won again. But no, I definitely like the way that it's going. And I'm like Trayvon. I want to see what it's going to get to, because there was these little mentions of like multiverse of madness and whatnot in the episode. So I want to get to the end. I want to know what's about to happen right now.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because in the cartoon, which huge shouts out to someone that is part of all of our childhoods, Tara Strong is the voice of the clock, or whatever the thing is called.
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes. That's probably going to be one of the biggest pop figures since Baby Yoda. Like that's
going to be my cosplay for this New York Comic Con.
Definitely. That's crazy that she's literally been the voice for almost everything we could think of. But you brought up something really interesting, Dom. In that video where she was narrating, she said 3 words that we're going to hear, and we have just heard in WandaVision. She used the word nexus, which was used in one of the commercials of WandaVision to define what kind of being Wanda is. She is a nexus level being. And then they made sure to use the words multiverse and then madness, all within the same conversation. That is not a mistake. The writer of this show is also a writer on Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. So that was not by mistake. But yeah, I would also say they said a lot that could lead us to Secret Wars, which is probably on the horizon. But what stands out the most out of what they said was there was a multiverse war before.
Yeah.
Excuse me, what? I'm sorry, huh? What does that mean? There was a war for the multiverse before, and you had to create these beings that were able to kind of stabilize the multiverse. That leaves the door open for a whole lot of. So, they said a lot without really saying much. So I was very intrigued by that video, because it kind of gives us a glimpse on how crazy stuff's about to get. It's about to get bonkers.
Well, Kevin Feige said that because I don't know if you guys remember, I think prior to WandaVision coming out, we all said like, oh, maybe Loki won't be that important because he's a variant, he's dead in the main timeline, X, Y, and Z. And Kevin Feige came out and said the Loki show is a lot more important than you may think. And maybe it's not necessarily important to Loki's story, but as soon as they were talking about multiverse and the different timelines and everything, and I was like, I see where you're going. You're saying there's one timeline, and conveniently one of the next movies is the Multiverse of Madness. Ooh, Loki, what did you do? What did you screw up in here?
That was one thing I was sitting on for a while. I'm not sure if it's going to be Loki that causes the events of it. I do believe that whatever Wanda has done has kind of like, think about it like this. They made sure to make it known that the Time Lords, they fix things, right? Things go out of whack, they reset and they fix. I think Wanda is such a large aberration, and whenever she does what she's supposed to do, that creates the multiverse. I think when she does that, that's what kind of cracks it to where it's like, this isn't fixable. Like this is something we're gonna need all hands on deck. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Time Lords address the idea of something that they've never had to deal with, which is something that cracks the system, that they can't just put something down and reset things to go back.
What if they do too much though? Like what if they are like, what if they're too controlling, they have to be stopped? The Time Lords.
Time Lords?
Yeah. What if
I
they
kind of felt like
been...
I kind of felt like it was going in that direction. Like maybe they're not good beings.
I for a second was starting to believe maybe the Time Lords aren't real. Maybe it's an institution you had to create to establish a balance.
What if the Time Lords are the power broker and Sharon's behind
and
everything?
Mephisto?
Oh my God.
Get out.
Wait, Jamie, did you see on Twitter there was like the picture of in the stained glass of a devil, and everyone's like, "Here's the Mephisto."
Yeah, I thought that too. Like, oh, there he is.
I'm with you, Juwan. I'm with you, Juwan. That is disappointment all over right there.
Mephisto coming back.
So very clearly, that was not Mephisto in that class. That was supposed to be an illustration of how the kid viewed Loki. The helmet with the horns, the green, it's supposed to symbolize Loki. Why they made it red, I don't know. It's not Mephisto. They came out and said it's not Mephisto. In a story about time where Time Lords are like these big scary boogeymen, I can tell you right now, one thing Mephisto's not worried about is Time Lords. It's not. They're not in the same ball. Like they're not in the same league. I don't think he would worry about Time Lords at all. So no, you guys don't have to worry about 6 weeks of me thinking Mephisto's popping up. Go ahead.
Oh shucks.
Go ahead and put that out the door. But Shekinah, I want to go to you. What were your thoughts on this first episode?
I think out of the 3 Disney Plus series that we've had so far, this was the best intro, like best first episode. Out of the others, it's the best first episode we've had for sure.
Yes.
I think one thing that sort of shook me was the spare Infinity Stones they had in like the drawer.
Yeah.
I was thinking, do you know how many people died in the run-up to get these stones, the battle, and you had them spare? Like that got me. I was like, okay, yeah. This is. I think I'm not prepared for what is coming. Essentially, like I have no thoughts going into this, so I'm excited. And I loved Tom Hiddleston's performance when he saw himself die. Like the emotion that was very intense. Like I'm excited.
Yeah, I as soon as I saw that and he was saying how they use it as paperweights, I'm a very visual person. So I immediately in my brain was just picturing the Time Lords sitting with a box of popcorn and just watching all these people die and just going, I could save them if I wanted to. I'm not going to, but like I could. I could go save Stark. But no, I mean I appreciated it because what I really thought was if they have this many Infinity Stones, that means through the course of their invention, they've had to stop people from using Infinity Stones. This is not the first event they've worked with where someone has used an Infinity Stone. So it got me thinking, Time Lords, Kang the Conqueror, Time Stone,
Celestial.
Kang the Conqueror could have possibly been one of the first few people to utilize a Infinity Stone. And it would line up very perfectly with the storyline of where they're going with the TVA and everything. But no, and also to your point, Shekinah, I think what hit the most about Tom's reaction to seeing his life play out was how Mobius was just like, yeah, you see how your mom died? Like, you sent them for Thor, and look what happened in response. Look what you keep doing when you think you're doing what's best. And we saw it in Dark World, how much that hurt Loki when she died. That was his everything. So that's why it was very important for him to have that moment with Odin, and then for him to have that moment with Thor in Ragnarok. It's why they showed that moment in Ragnarok. I know a lot of people are like, why was that part of the memory? It was because it was another layer of Loki being peeled back. Because that was one of his biggest things. He hated Thor. And that was the moment where he let his guard down, and he was just like, I do love my brother. I really do. And then as we saw, he was willing to die for his brother. Because what I think a lot of people forget is in Infinity War, he could have just disappeared. He could have left Thor there to die and just left. But he was willing to die for his, well, first of all, for his respect, because he was not feeling Thanos disrespecting him like that. Like, he wasn't having that, but it was more so to let his brother know, I'm with you to the end. So it was very important to show those key moments. But I think the thing that stood out to me the most was after Thanos killed him, he kind of just laughs, because in his mind, he was doing all this to become ruler, and to see it end like that was just like glorious purpose, huh? Like that's what I was selling to myself. This was all for a glorious purpose, and this is how I die. So it was very humbling for him, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see him go through all that, and like I said, so we don't have to get dragged through it again, in case Loki meets Thor again down the line or whatever the case may be. It could be a happy reunion rather than, Loki being like, "You're trying to hug me? What is this?" Like,
yeah, I was glad that they sped through that. I was wondering if this Loki was going to know about all the events that had taken place, and I was glad that we got it out of the gate in the first episode.
Right. Yeah, it was just something we didn't need, because again, he's been here for forever. We don't need things rehashed. Just move the story along. Excuse me. Pete, I'm gonna go over to you, man. What stood out to you in this first episode?
What's up, everybody? Sorry I'm late. First of all, I absolutely agree with you. I was really worried that we were going to lose Loki's entire character development. So glad to see that, like you said, just get it out of the way and get him back to the 0 point that we left him off with at Endgame.
Yep.
Nothing too much stood out for me. I thought this was a great start. It was very interesting. Like Dom said, I got very big Doctor Who vibes from I was like on Gallifrey again. I was like, ooh, Time Lords. Okay. The whole time, police and everything. I was focusing on the heads of the 3 lizard kings in the background because, I'm a conspiracy theorist with the freaking lizard people, Antarctica. Like, what do we got here? We got lizard kings. All right, we're going this way. But I was trying to okay, like we said yesterday on Figure It Out, is one of them Kang? Is Kang going to fit into this? Or, is there a version of Kang? Because I thought he was the villain in this. So I was mistaken in that. I did not realize that it was going to be another variant of Loki. So how does that play in, and where does that play in? Where in this timeline? Because we've already seen all of Loki's timeline. So is this later on down the road? Does he become a dick again? What happens? I need to know these things.
Yeah, it seems as though once he grabbed the Tesseract and went back or left that timeline, I think where it looks as though the story is going is he's now created these other realities to where other Lokis exist. And again, we have to see how this whole season plays out, but Feige and these guys get very tricky on things that do and do not matter to the timeline,
right?
Because they're telling you Loki taking the Tesseract and leaving that timeline was a no-no, but they said nothing about Steve going back to live out the life and then coming back, as if that didn't disrupt anything.
Because maybe that was meant to happen. Remember when he was like, oh, well, the Avengers Avengers went back in time and they were like, well, that was meant to happen. So maybe they're confirming that Steve was meant to do all that. Although someone pointed out online that they thought they saw Peggy in the background being like pulled away by one of the TVA people.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
speaking of background, sorry, John.
No, go ahead, Pete.
Did anybody notice a Stan Lee portrait, like a painting somewhere? My buddy texted me and asked me if I saw it, and I was like, nah, I didn't. But I was like, I'm about to do this podcast in like an hour. Yeah, gonna have to watch it again. It's somewhere in the background.
I believe it.
I was saying before that I approached this show different than the other shows, so I only gave it a one-time view, like a once-over. Mm-hmm. I didn't go back like I did the last two series, so it very likely could be in there, and I completely missed it. But no, what I was gonna say was the Avengers doing what they did was necessary. No, I'm sorry. I was responding to Tia's comment about Peggy. The only reason why I don't believe it was Peggy is the only reason she would have been arrested by the TVA is if she had grabbed that Tesseract and tried to use it in some way that affected the timeline. But we know that from when the craft that Steve was on, from when that crashed to where they dug him out, there's a gap in where the Tesseract was rescued, and we can assume it was not by the government or Agent Carter. So, and it's just like, I don't even know, would she be able to withstand that by holding it? Like they didn't have the technology back then.
I was going to ask you, Joanna, a question, if you could clear that up for me. And this has confused me throughout the years with the Tesseract, and it popped up again as I was watching the first episode. I mean, wasn't that the whole thing in the first Avenger when Red Skull, grabbed the Tesseract and it, did what it did to him? And now it seems like anyone can just grab the Tesseract without, like, the accountant dude who had never seen a fish or heard of a fish before was like holding it as if it was nothing. It was like, what's going on with this Tesseract?
Space. Yeah, I was just about to say the TVA where they exist is like it's beyond space and time. So
you're
like
right, you're right.
It's like a negative space.
Right. So in negative space, that's why they were saying they were using the stones as paperweights, because they're virtually just rocks. Mm-hmm. Like they have no effect to anyone there. So they just work completely differently within the space of where the TVA is located.
She did pick it up outside though when they were on the.
Say it again.
The lady did pick it up when they weren't inside the TVA. She did pick it up.
Yeah, well, the thing about the Tesseract is Red Skull used it, and that's what made him disappear or die, whatever you want to say.
He didn't die, he disappeared.
Well, I only said died because the next time we saw him, he was legit an embodiment of death. So it was just like, well, at some point...
He was kind of floating in the air.
But I think you can hold the Tesseract. It's just when you use the Tesseract is that I think it amplifies the effects. That
could be also that the TVA people don't necessarily exist on any timeline. So if they interact with something like that, because clearly they pull people in and out of timelines, they might not, like you said, they might not exist, on a physical plane. They might just be some kind of celestial type of creation, you know what I mean?
Also, they're formed by gods to do their bidding.
Right.
Just like how Peter was able to hold the Power Stone and not die immediately because he was half god. So that's also a factor in it.
Which, again, was another weird thing because as he held it and then held everybody else and it went through them, it was just like, that's not how Infinity Stones work. It should have legit killed them in order.
But it was still a cool scene, so that's all that matters.
We got from listener Jim. Did I understand correctly that they want him to hunt down himself from a different timeline?
They assume that's him, but we don't know that's him yet.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes. We don't know that that's him, but their mission that they're looking for is for him to help essentially find him. So yeah, I mean, picture that, right? Picture seeing how you die, picture devices that could make you sit in a chair repeatedly, like picture experiencing all that and then going, hey, I need your help to find you.
Oh,
Like,
and
you're
the
taking
thought that you
out
could
there.
be a robot.
Wait,
I thought that was so funny.
say anything, Trayvon?
The thought that he could be a robot. He really
Oh.
thought about that for a second.
He was like, wait.
Am I a robot?
I mean, we all have those moments where, like, you know, where someone ever asks you, like, are you sure? Like, you're at Subway and it's like, I'll just take a little bit of pickles. And it's like, are you sure? And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, have
Like,
any of you
that
guys
makes me think, like, do I want more now? Go ahead, Sam.
have any of you guys watched Westworld? Because if you're a Westworld fan, there's plenty of characters there who end up finding out that they're robots, who had no idea that they're robots.
Mhm.
So, you know, it happens.
I saw the first
sometimes.
season. Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
wild.
So there you go. Loki was valid in that.
That, I mean, for sure. I mean, especially to see what happens if you were a robot. It's like, am I a
want
robot?
to chance it.
Like, hold on a second. Like, wait, I don't know all the facts yet. Yeah, no, this show definitely worked in humor very well. I mean, I'm watching it over in the background. Even when they said, we'll vaporize you if you lose your ticket or if you don't have it.
They
Immediately go,
really
"Oh my
vaporized
God,
that guy.
Yeah.
like, where did I put that thing?" So they did a really good job of making sure they blended the serious with the funny, with the time traveling action adventure to it. Jamie, I'll go to you next. What were your thoughts on this first episode?
I was actually very pleasantly surprised by the show. I didn't have low expectations, but I was thinking it was going to be just whatever, I guess. I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but I was expecting not to be like super hyped up for the show. So I'm glad that the first episode was as good as it was. I am left with like a lot of questions and I'm like starting to formulate theories and things like that. Like one thing that I thought was like particularly interesting is when Miss Minutes is like kind of explaining like the whole system and the TVAs, and she's saying like, you know, you could become a variant just by showing up late to work. I'm like, what? I'm like, that happens all the time. Like how
Yeah.
how do you determine like, oh, you were actually supposed to be late for work versus, oh, that was weird. Why are you late for work? Like, how do you determine that? That's so that I feel like that could, I don't know how there hasn't been like a huge multiverse created from that alone. If like the timeline is so sensitive, which that's why when you were talking about WandaVision, Jawan, I can definitely see how that could create like a huge situation going forward. And then something else that I really liked is like everybody else is saying, they're really smart about the way that they told the story. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I immediately asked myself when Loki was on trial, I'm like, well, what about the Avengers? Because they were like skipping through time like it was nothing. And he brought it up and I'm like, oh, thank God he actually said something. And they're like, yeah, well, that was supposed to happen. I'm like, okay. So I don't know, it's kind of weird that they're allowing people to travel through time as long as there's like some kind of stamp of approval. So I'm wondering like who is giving the approval for these different leaps and why is it approved in that way? What's the criteria?
So I'll say that I think Loki is a good example for this because we've already seen the events of Loki's life until the end of it. And then we go back into 2012. And then that's the main thing that disrupts everything. Because 2012 wasn't supposed to leave at that timeline where he has the event. He is in the Avengers and it goes into Dark World, and that's already explained in there. After he disappears, all of that messed up. And I think the way they gave that specific storyline to Loki is because we already finished his story, basically. That's what the whole... You can go, Dom.
No, you know what's funny that you say that, though? It almost seems like a lie because if they were supposed to travel, that means they were supposed to drop the Tesseract and he was supposed to pick it up. So it almost doesn't really make sense, or they're lying to him to get him to do what they want him to do.
Yeah. Do you feel like because he died, they're like, oh, well, now this has to go this route? Because if you were alive, maybe things could have switched around or something.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of do believe, I mean, again, I'm still going to stick with my theory of I don't believe the Time Lords actually exist. I think maybe they died a while ago. And whoever is behind pulling the strings is kind of just going as events happen. But the main reason why they were very specific in why him leaving was detrimental to the timeline was right after Avengers. Without Loki, everything Thor did is null and void. None of that happens because there's no Loki. He's literally the catalyst to everything Thor is today. So without Loki,
technically Loki is the catalyst of everything happening to any of the Avengers.
100%.
He messed it all up. And
100%. He's the reason Stark created Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the reason Stark saw Thanos. So yeah, Loki legit led everything. Well, not everything. I'll say the main things, because really the only two people affected by the Avengers, that attack on New York, was Tony and Thor, because of the ramifications of what came after, and Tony with the the post traumatic.
So technically, Iron Man 2 doesn't exist anymore. Avengers.
Iron Man.
We could loop that.
Iron Man 2 happened before the first Avengers. Iron Man 3 doesn't.
Okay, yeah, that.
I like the sound of that. Let's get that out of here. Let's throw that right in the
going away.
Right in the garbaggio.
But my thing is like, so in order for them to say like, oh, you weren't supposed to leave at this time, they're like selecting that as the correct timeline. And if I don't know if this is correct or not, but they're saying that time works differently there. So I kind of feel like they're observing like the main timeline and then like possible like variant timelines happening at the same time. And they're like, oh, okay, this one's the correct one. Like they're choosing from A, B, C, and D. But I'm like, who's making the answer key? Like it could have been any of them.
Also, to your point about showing up to work late, the reason why the Time Lords are saying something as trivial as that matters is, picture if at your job you were supposed to be there at 8:00, and at 8:00 in that exact spot something crazy happens, like your chair just explodes, right? And like you get injured and you're in a hospital. If you don't show up to work that day, they could call someone else in who then sits there, and it's not meant for them to explode in that chair. It was you to explode in that chair.
Yeah, it's like butterfly effect.
Well, yeah, for you, yeah, but for that person who's just trying to fill in for you,
I'll give actually like a end story, I'll give an example that's actually in the MCU. So say everything from Iron Man to Endgame is all the main timeline. And I'm going to make Captain America the example of this. Between Infinity War and Endgame, he goes through times and put back the Infinity Gems where they belong. That's the main timeline. Now in the next, if they bring back Captain America, for example, and he gets his own TV show and it just disregards that means Captain America broke that timeline, because he was supposed to do that, but in a series or another movie of Captain America and he doesn't do it, that means he broke the timeline, and then that means the TVA will come after him.
Well, so that's to Jamie's point.
Yeah.
That's what Jamie's saying. There aren't any specific rules, because when you watch Endgame, you could make a case 3 different people broke what the TVA is saying in this episode you aren't supposed to do. So essentially we're assuming Steve going back to be with Peggy was within the guidelines of what's okay. We have no idea whether or not that's true.
Well, you're right, but we're all assuming, and I think it's safe to assume that everything that's happened within the main timeline, which are the main movies, is what it's supposed to be.
Now, listen to this. Think about this, right? And then I'm going to pass it on. Or I'm going to let Jamie finish, then we can pass it on. We did not know Loki taking that Tesseract in that moment.
You're right.
Was anything wrong outside of like, oh my God, like now he's out there with the Tesseract. It wasn't until the show was created that we had a semblance of there are rules to this thing. And we now know there are people that hold you accountable for breaking. Yeah. So we might get down to someone going, yeah, Steve did break it. We had to pluck his ass back in. And that's why he's here, young, youthful, and back in the MCU. because we had to pluck his old ass back into that timeline, tell him he couldn't be with Peggy. He was always supposed to be the Avenger. She was supposed to go on and marry someone else. I'm not saying that's the case, but if they did want to bring Kat back, that's a reasonable explanation that no one's really like, oh, that's too much to believe. It would make perfect sense because that's essentially what they're doing with Loki. They're plucking out the aberration, which would be the old man Steve, and they're just replacing him back in his actual timeline to where he would still be here today. So you could easily do it in that route. So we don't know that he didn't break any TVA laws by just deciding on his own. You know what? This whole Cat thing, I'm through with it. I'm gonna just go get married, have very awkward dinners with my wife's niece that I smooched that she doesn't know about. So again, we'll find all this out, or maybe this will never be talked about again. But Jamie, did you want to add anything else?
No, I think that just about covers it. I'm just really curious to see how the story is gonna end, like a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, this could go a lot of ways, and I think what's gonna suck the most is the very next MCU project will have literally nothing to do with what they're setting up in this show. So it's gonna be such a weird break, like going from Falcon and the Winter Soldier back to a cosmic space storyline will forever be the weirdest thing. Yeah. But again, it wasn't supposed to happen that way. It was supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then WandaVision, then Loki, and then everything else. So we're kind of seeing it out of order, and it feels like that because now I'm about to go to a grounded spy movie and then go see Shang-Chi, where it's a more mystical route, and then the Eternals, where I get back to space and all that. So it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be a very bumpy ride, but a fun one. Before I pass it to you, Tia, I want to go. Listener Jim says, we kind of just spoke about this, but opens up the whole Steve Rogers going back to Peggy timeline. Was it supposed to happen, or did he break the rules?
It was supposed to happen, but well,
we're assuming that,
yeah.
And I'm fine if they keep it that it was supposed to happen. I have no problem with that. But it definitely has to count as an aberration. How is that supposed to happen?
But it already happened with Loki. Everything happened already, and then we get the Infinity War Loki.
Yeah,
and then
but
it goes back.
What's confusing about saying what Steve did was supposed to happen, the reason why that makes no sense is if it was supposed to happen, that would mean Steve has been married to Peggy for this entire time. That's what it was supposed to happen would mean. But we know
they said that it was supposed to happen. They said that the old man at her funeral was him, that her husband was him. I think
when did they say that?
Yeah, that doesn't make
sense. I swear I read that. Unless I might be making it up, but I could swear I read that.
Wow, that would have been so deep if they did.
But that,
I mean, there's like one when the pallbearers are coming down the aisle. There's one dude with gray hair. So listen, they set that up for sure.
They it could have just been two Steves. It could have been old man Steve and then regular Steve and everything. They did that in Futurama. Time is what's different.
I know they had like multiple endings for Endgame where some Tony died, some Steve died, and whatever. But like they definitely set this up as just in case, and whether it was going to be Steve as her husband or it was just a random old dude with white hair. Either way, he's there and he's right in the foreground. He's the last pallbearer on the left side.
I would just say if that's the case, and again, it's why I don't like time travel. It's why I don't like multiverse. I don't like any of this. I despise it. Because what doesn't make any sense is we legit saw him defrosted in 2012. So it's like, well, we've seen him be a hero this whole time. He even had a conversation with Nat about like, hey, you should probably start dating. It's weird. You're just like alone.
Well, because it could exist at the same time. It's like you always have Steve who he gets defrosted, does the whole thing, and then goes back and gets with Peggy and then lives old and everything. And it's like it's like a loop, pretty much. It's like a loop.
One can replace the other is basically what
yeah.
And so, I would need them to tell us that replaced that, because it in my mind, Steve literally just lived out 2 timelines. And now he just exists as an old man in this current timeline, which means there's still a branch of that young Steve still there. It's still there.
Imagine he's sitting there with Peggy and he's like, hey, there I am on the news.
Oh, look at that. Sam, look at that. Black Captain America. Who would have thought? It's like, you did that. You did that. But Tia, walk me through your thoughts on this episode.
So I just wanted to say that I am, as you guys know, was super excited for the Loki show. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it says keep calm and join Loki's army. I've had that since 2012. So, I was very excited, broke it out of the, draws today. But anyway, I want to piggyback on what Shekinah said, that I think this is the best first episode out of the 3 shows that we've seen on Disney Plus so far. It was the first episode that actually felt like an episode. Like WandaVision and The Falcon and Winter Soldier always felt as if they cut off abruptly because they were meant to maybe be a movie as opposed to a TV show. This felt like an actual episode, had a beginning, middle, and end. So I did like that. Tom Hiddleston was great. I liked the kind of Umbrella Academy feel to the, TVA, and I liked Loki kind of being a little disjointed about, because this is 2012 Loki. This is the Loki, as we've been saying, who hasn't experienced all the other stuff. All he's experienced is the first Thor, anything that's happened before then. And then, trying to take over New York, which I did think was funny, where he's like, I've had a really long day. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of have had a really long day. And so, for that Loki to be thrown into this midst where he's pretty insignificant, really was interesting. Like, bravo on Tom Hiddleston's part of his acting. I also wanted to point out that when Owen Wilson's character Mobius, who I forget who said it, but Owen Wilson was doing really good in this episode. I was like, I like you in this role, weirdly. But when Mobius was telling Loki that his purpose is not to be a king or a ruler, his purpose is to cause pain, and so that others may succeed instead, it very much reminded me in Thor: The Dark World when Odin told Loki, your purpose was to die. And I'm like, my man Loki can never catch a break here. So, I mean, I really liked it. I thought it was a really promising first episode. I loved the quick explanation of who the TVA is, what happened with the multiversal war and everything. And that's why we have the singular timeline. I really desperately wanted, as I said before, Loki to find out everything that had happened and not living within this small little space of him thinking him and Thor aren't on good terms or anything. Like, I'm glad that happened. But I think it was you, Juwan, who said that seeing him go through those emotions of just sad, happy, sad, and then ultimately like surprise. And I love the visual of his the tape running out, end of file. I thought that was a really great visual and almost like a confirmation for us that like that Loki is not coming back. If you thought he was,
the main Loki is dead. Yeah,
the main Loki is dead, which broke my heart, but I'll get over it. And I was gonna say one other thing, I forget what it is now, but
DB Cooper.
I was just gonna say. I was
that's what watching it. That's so crazy. The 3 of us were all thinking.
That literally was like, that's the thing I need to remember. I need like a flashback scene of what do you mean it was a bet? Like, how did that, like, you, Thor, and Heimdall were all drinking mead, and like what Heimdall was like, it'd be funny if you went to Midgard and went on a plane, and Thor's like, haha, I hope you could steal all this money. You say there's a bomb on it or something. Like, I don't know. Like, what bet was this? So that was just so funny. It was a great episode. I really liked it. Visually was great. Story wise, I loved everything about it. I'm super excited about this story. And again, Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson seem to have really good chemistry in this, and I just hope that continues. And I guess the one last thing I will say is that I don't personally trust the TVA. Maybe again, I'm like projecting the Umbrella Academy on it, but I don't trust this group of people who are supposedly trying to overlook the timeline. Oh, sorry. Well, I know I keep saying one last thing. This is the very last thing. I saw somebody say online that they think the Loki they're hunting is Lady Loki. So take that as you will. That's the last thing.
That's the main clone of Loki everybody knows. There's multiple other Lokis to talk about, but that is the main one. So it is safe to assume that it is Lady Loki. So,
well, just because of the image of the hood and the flame bursting in a field, I think the behind the scenes photos that we saw was Lady Loki wearing kind of a very similar outfit in a field. So that's where I think people are going at there.
Wish it was Enchantress, but we clearly have come to the understanding I will never get any of the things that make me an enjoyable comic book fan. So the Enchantress dream, I will just throw right out of the window because I'll probably never get her. Even though she's very pivotal to Thor and Loki and Asgard and everything that goes wrong in it, whatever.
You may see her now or maybe in Thor 4. I mean, we still got Thor 4 going on.
Yeah, I will say the best chance to have used Enchantress would have been Ragnarok instead of Hela. And the fact that they didn't use Enchantress but used her lackey let me know that they don't have any plans on using Enchantress. Yeah, that really broke my heart. And then you wasting Carl Urban, you wasting the world's greatest actor on Scourge.
But no, but that was great though. That was like great. It's the same thing like maybe not the same thing, but you had Sylvester Stallone playing like such a small part in Guardians of the Galaxy too. It's like, you know,
Scourge is such a tough character, and to know that I had to watch Scourge with a fucking shake
sex ass
and shooting AK-47s, yeah, no.
It was beautiful.
Carl Urban, you deserve better. I'm going to make sure you get your due, Carl Urban.
He could come back. They're doing it with Gemma Chan, you know. Sometimes actors come back.
The thing is that Carl Urban was in what is it? Motion capture, makeup, whatever stuff.
What?
Yeah, covered in makeup, exactly.
Yeah.
I hate that. Just recasting actors. I had a whole thing with Quicksilver being Craven. Like,
well,
okay, I get it. But
that I agreed. I listened to that episode of you guys, and I agreed with that.
I don't really care. I don't really care about Sony anymore anyway, so it doesn't really
matter. We're all comic fans. We're all gonna be fielded the question by our just regular movie going friends. Yeah. Why is the fast guy that got killed in Avengers back in Spider-Man? What's going on? We're all gonna get that question at some point.
Fair. We got from Joe. The DB Cooper part confused me. I thought 2012 was Loki's first time on Earth. Again, Joe.
Wait, say that again.
Thor 1, he was on Earth. Remember when Thor was being held by S.H.I.E.L.D.? So he was on Midgard at that point as well.
Wait, you said Thor 1?
In Thor 1, like the Avengers, right? The first Thor, right?
He projected himself in there.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was just a projection, though. That wasn't actually him. That was his way of messing with
But
Thor.
no, but he tried to pick up Mjolnir.
Yeah, but that's what Loki can do. He can take it's like an astral projection to where like you could be there, but you're not really there. Like he's still somewhere else.
And he can still interact with physical objects.
Yeah.
Oh.
Be on Earth mad time because I mean they're Viking gods. They were definitely running around.
They've definitely been on Midgard for.
Yeah.
To be fair to Joe's question, Feige has done nothing but retcon the MCU as he's went. So yes.
But even in Thor, throughout the Thor trilogy, they've already explained that they've been on Earth before. They've been on Midgard before.
I completely get that, but I am saying it was originally made known that Loki wasn't the idea of Loki was just walking Earth all the time. That wasn't made clear in the beginning. And then as the MCU progressed, it was very much so, well, yeah, he did when this happened, and then he did when that happened, and then way back he was DB Cooper, and it's like he's constantly retconning things, and that's cool. but I can see how someone might have missed here and there. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I thought 2012 was the first time he was on Earth. And it's like, well, you know.
It could have been the first modern day that he's been on Earth. If they're thousands of years old, maybe he was there back in the day and hasn't been there in like a solid 500 years or something like that.
Well, he had to be on Earth because he what is it? He brainwashed a couple people to help him get the Tesseract and an Avengers.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Unfortunately, again, I could see how, because those are such like small minor moments and like small minor things, someone completely whiffed that and was confused by things, you know, down the road. So I can completely understand.
Time for MCU marathon again. Let's go.
Yeah, as long as you allow me to skip some, for sure. I'll definitely go.
No skipping. We're watching everything all the way through.
No, we're definitely skipping Thor: The Dark World.
No, we're watching Thor: The Dark
Oh,
World.
they gave it better meaning. And
whoa, hold on, Trayvon. I want to hear that. What gave what better meaning?
Endgame.
Endgame.
They made. I don't know. They made it feel. I don't know. Made the movie better for me. Sorry, it is.
No, hold on. I'm just trying to figure out. You're saying Endgame made Dark World better?
Yeah, to me. Yeah.
It made. I could see what Trayvon's saying. It made it more like significant, you know, because we got to see Frigga again. But it's still trash, and you still just fast forward to the Loki part. Dom laughs, but one of the movies I'm skipping is Age of Ultron.
Thor hug his mom before she dies does not make that weak villain any better. So,
okay, the worst movie in the MCU is Iron Man 3. Okay,
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
I think Thor: The Dark World is the worst. I would put Iron Man 3 above.
I'm sorry, you giving Pepper powers. And then you destroying AIM like that.
Wait, can I tell you really quick? That's not even the part that
bothered me. I don't care about that. It's about the fake manner for me. Sorry. It pissed me off.
You know, it's crazy. I could literally live with that. I can't live with giving Pepper powers and then destroying AIM the way that they did. AIM deserved better. I'm sorry.
Who even are you?
I'm sorry. AIM deserved better, and then you giving Pepper powers, and then the next time we see her, it's like, you're fine. You guys
like you're good.
Pure, just out of nowhere, right? Like, okay, all right, whatever.
Can I say really quick
about Pepper, right?
Can I say really quick, and we can move on after that? My mom is watching this right now, and I'm sorry, Mom, but my mom really likes Iron Man 3. She rewatched it not too long ago. She texted me. She's like, I think this is the best Iron Man. She's like, it's not campy at all. And I was just like, please don't ever utter that ever again.
Tell her she's out of the family.
Mom, she's out of the family.
My mom loves Thor: Dark World, but the only reason why I accept that is because she only views it as like she's a big. I told you, Pete, when we did Figure It Out, she's a big rom-com person, so she just viewed it as like this romantic comedy. And in her mind, forget all the other poo-poo that it's doing. It has love comedy.
We still got to do that episode to Figure It Out, mind you.
Yeah, she's really excited. I'm nervous. I've already had my dad on. Having my mom on is just, come on, it's just too much. Joe says Thor: The Dark World is the worst of the MCU. It's you could go either way. I tell you what, in a marathon, I'm skipping both. So there you go.
It did have like one of the best Loki endings, because I will say I did really like the end when like Odin turned into Loki. I was like, that's cool. So it's you had these like Loki moments that were cool about it.
I would argue if you say that for Dark World, for Iron Man 3, as much as I thought it was done horribly, it was pretty hot to see all those suits come in to save
Iron Legion.
That was pretty. I was sitting in the theater like, I'm hate watching this, but I like it. I like it.
You did this right.
It definitely had some moments. It was a solid D-, you know. It wasn't
an F.
Yeah, got a 64.
It passed barely.
Yeah, goodness gracious, man, that movie really strained you. It tries to make you hate it as much as it possibly can, and it succeeds on every given mark. But AJ, your thoughts on this episode, man?
I agree with all of your guys' points. I really love this series so much. I do agree that it is the best.
Did you see more than one episode?
Maybe.
Maybe. I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
Maybe.
Hold on.
You never know. You never. I might have watched episode 2. But yeah, I do. I agree that this is the best first episode out of WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I love how they set up the TVA. And I also said this in my tweet. I said this episode is the best use of flashbacks out of any series or any movie I've ever seen in my life. So I just really love this episode. And it just, even though we do have the flashbacks, it helps move along the story of the TVA, moves along Loki's story to something even more. So it improves on everything that I wish would happen in the season. In this first episode, it does everything perfectly for me. I was super hyped for this show from the beginning, and it just exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, and I do love that this Loki is trying to become the Loki that we saw in Infinity War, but he's also hanging on to the annoying brat that he's always been, where he's reversing her and sending her in a loop. Yeah. And he's just loving it. He's just loving every ounce of
that was hilarious. I was watching, I was like, yeah, I'd probably do the same thing.
Sure. I mean, the first time he met her, she slow-mo punched him. I'm like, at some point, Loki was like, you're going to pay for that. So I kind of love that he was like, I didn't forget about that slow-mo punch. And I love the way she explained it, to where it's like, you're going slow, but you're feeling every ounce of it. And it's like, I could never picture that. Like, I couldn't picture Mike Tyson punching me and it going slow, but I'm feeling all of the punch. But my face is just reacting slow to it. Yeah, I'd say, no. You got to make this go quicker. Just knock me out. Just knock me out right now. But no, I mean, Prime go ahead, Pete.
I was just gonna say I don't know the actress's name, but I love this woman in Lovecraft Country, so I'm really happy to see her here.
Yeah, I thought of you immediately, Pete, and I was
know it.
I know Pete loves
everybody was focusing on Journey Smollett, and I was just like, yeah.
I was wondering if that was her because she looked familiar.
That's her.
Oh. See that? We got the Lovecraft Country crew coming to the Loki series, or at least the MCU. So that's amazing.
Yep. They got 2 of them. They
just need to bring Journey in here. That's all I need in my life right now. That's all I need in my life.
I ain't opposed to it.
I mean, I rewatched that show the other day, and I kept looking at the lady that the character you're talking about was falling in love with. I kept looking at her and I kept trying to convince myself that I wasn't looking at Sue Storm. Every time I looked at her, I'm just like, look like what a Sue Storm should look like. Like, I had to try to work it out in my brain. And I'm like, oh my God, she's Sue Storm. And I can't. The only problem I had was she tends to look too much like Weaving. Sam Weaving. Samara Weaving. She kind of looks too much like her, and I'm like, no.
She had big eyes and a little head. She was like a walking anime character, that woman.
She was, yeah.
I'm sorry. Call him as I see him.
Yeah, the dimensions were definitely off there. Yeah, that's
that's. You were just born with it, but you know, I'm just joking.
It's a permanent shock. That is for sure. Joe says he absolutely loves Journey. Journey is very talented. I remember I was one of the first people when she was cast as Black Canary. She is a family friend of mine. Tia knows this. I said this before. I was convincing everyone how great she would be as Canary because she can sing. And everyone was just like, why can't it be Lady Gaga? She can actually sing. And I'm just like, well, Journey can sing too. You guys think Jessie was the only one that had talent in that whole family?
I was gonna ask, wasn't she like related to you? But I didn't know if you wanted me to like say that on air or anything.
Yeah, she's like a really good family friend. But yeah, so I was just like, yeah, she could sing. What's going on, Pete? What's going on, Pete?
I'm gonna refrain on this one, but you can hear me. You know me long enough now. You can hear me.
I can hear you, and I know what you're thinking. And my answer to that is
no.
As I told everybody before, that's a string I won't pull on. Because trust me, I wanted to.
I understand
for certain things, but yeah, no. And it's why when people are just like, "Man, she looks good," I'm just like, "Okay, yeah, sure, yeah." But she's the main reason I love Birds of Prey. Well, I'm glad there were things about Birds of Prey you love, Joe.
That was about it.
We're not gonna hate on Birds of Prey. We're talking about Loki now. We're not hating on Birds of Prey.
I'm reading the comments in the comment section, AJ. That's all I am doing. I said nothing wrong. Anyway, Prime, I'm going to go to you. What were your thoughts on this first episode of Loki?
So you guys probably caught more of the detail than I did. I'll be honest. So I'm usually off on Wednesdays. Just so happened today, the day that Loki comes out, I have to work. So
you know what it was? He caused mischief.
There it is. So I had to try to watch it at work. So I couldn't really get into it as much as I wanted to. But so I'm definitely going to go back, and as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to watch it again. And, in the comfort of my own home, undisturbed. But I will say what I was able to gather from what I did see was, one, I agree with AJ. The flashback scenes were probably the best to me. That we've seen, so far. I really enjoyed those. Also, the fact of seeing the Infinity Stones being pretty much useless, in this particular series up to this point was crazy. I don't know if they're gonna expand on that anymore, but I thought that was that was pretty cool. And then just seeing Loki go through the whole range of emotions. He gets slapped around, gets his butt kicked a little bit. He got emotional a little bit. He got back to doing what he does, causing mischief. So from what I was able to pay attention to, it was great. So far, just seeing that without even getting to, really look at it the way I wanted to look at it, I agree as well that that's probably the best of all the shows we've seen on Disney as far as the first episode. And I'm saying that, like I said, without even really paying attention to detail. So, but I'm so excited for this series, man. So excited to see where this goes. And, it is what it is, but I loved it.
Yeah, we were actually saying, Prime, before you got on, that as far as the Infinity Stones, the way that the TVA works is they're outside of time and space. Mm-hmm. So it's like the stones really have no effect there. So that's why they could just use it as like a paperweight or whatever the case may be. Like,
they don't even know what it is. So I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. So to a lot of them, they've only ever lived there within that. They've only ever done that. So they don't really have that much knowledge about what these other things do. It's why he looked at him and was kind of just like, yeah, these things, like, yeah, they're glowing rocks. And it's like, Loki's looking at him like, you don't know what you could do with this, do you? Like, this is powerful, but to them within that space, it means nothing. So I don't think. I will say this though, Loki did pick up an Infinity Stone, and we never saw him put it down. So that could be something to maybe keep an eye out for. I mean, it's the God of Mischief. If I don't see that payoff somewhere down the line, it's like. What are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this?
Did you guys address the person or creature, whatever it was, at the end of the? I guess I don't know if it was a demon or whatever. Right towards the end of the episode.
Oh yeah, Tia speculated that the behind the scenes of when they were shooting it possibly could be Lady Loki. From the feel of it, it looks like that's probably who it could be. You know, because we got at the end of this episode, he has to go hunt the different
Yeah.
variants of himself. So it'll be very interesting to see how that all plays out. Lady Loki is very interesting to the story of Loki. Anyone who read any of the comics right after Ragnarok, all hell went loose. Like literally, it got crazy for the world of those Asgardians. So,
well, because they never specified they didn't say something along the lines of, "Oh, we have to hunt him." They said you. So I feel as if they're leaving that ambiguous for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's where the fluidity comes from.
Right, because they did confirm
Yeah.
that he's gender fluid, so could be something along
Yeah,
those
that
lines.
was to me. I didn't understand when people were like making a big deal about that. It was just to me. It's ultimately Loki literally could be anybody.
Yeah,
He has the
He
ability
can transform to whatever he wants.
anybody. So I'm like, Loki could see a guy and go, I don't know if I am interested in him as a guy, but I could definitely make myself a hot chick. So I'm like, to me, I was just like, yeah, okay, yeah, it makes sense, sure. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Like we were saying before, Prime, Loki going through everything he went through was good to kind of just get that out of the way. Get it out of the way so it's done. We can move forward with his story. But like I said, they did a really good balance of making sure that seeing the events of his life didn't totally make him soft. You know what I'm saying? Like right after that, he had the little hissy fit. He was sending her in the loop. Like they made sure he was still Loki to his core. And I really did appreciate that. And I did want to say before I pass it to you, Ryan, in the press junket that I did with the cast and Kevin Feige, Owen Wilson was saying how him and Tom were working very closely together. Tom would tell Owen to watch different plays and stuff like that to kind of get a better understanding. And he said Tom made him kind of go through everything that's ever existed in the MCU, like top to bottom. So like when he's reciting these things, it's more natural. Like he's not saying it as it's words off of a paper. He's saying it because he knows it. He knows like, oh, this categorically happened. So it was just really good to kind of hear that. And not really supposed to say that, but they did say they flirted with the idea of Loki from the past. They floated around with different concepts of what they wanted Loki to do from back in the day. But some things were just too like on the nose, so they decided DB Cooper was one of the more fun ones to go with. But they said they did kick around a lot, and when you get a writer from Rick and Morty, it's like I can only imagine what Feige walked in that room and said, absolutely not, no, absolutely not, absolutely not, no, you cannot do that. But Ryan, I'll go to you to close this out. What were your thoughts on this first episode of Loki?
So without spoiling episode 2, which I won't, I really loved episode 1 because I said in a tweet, like, knowing what I know about this one and the next one, it just feels like it's got that energy of like a Marvel movie behind it. And I didn't really feel that with the last 2 series. I mean, they were all right, but they had a slow build. And I think someone alluded to that before. Maybe it was Prime. This one just starts off and it has a pulse to it. I love the fact that they did the DB Cooper stuff, just like you said before. I kind of thought that was going to come like down the road, like he was going to escape and break out, and then he was going to have all these adventures across time, which could still end up coming. But yeah, it was just that was a shock to me. I was surprised to see that they were going to tie back in his mother dying. I don't know if that was talked about before all this. But man, you just see every range of emotion from him in this, and it's why he's so in demand in the MCU and why it's a perfect idea to give him his own show. Tom Hiddleston is just fantastic in everything he does. I'm just trying to think of anything else that stood out. The stones were great. Did you guys talk about the Mephisto on the wall?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mephisto.
Right? Yeah. Okay, is this the real tease, or is this them knowing so much that we're talking about it? Like, let's throw it up there.
No, I took it more as they were literally in a chapel.
Yeah.
And that's literally just a painting of the devil, like I assume most Sistine chapels or whatever the hell would have. And the kid only pointed to it because probably when he saw the figure that came and did whatever damage they did, it was literally just horns out of a hood and the green of the attire.
Okay.
So to the kid, it's like, I know what that devil looks like, so I assume that's the devil too. I don't think the kid literally meant Satan was just here like 20 minutes ago. You missed him. Like, no, I think
it was more of a clue that Mephisto does exist in this universe, more so than
I don't think it had anything to do with Mephisto. I think it was more so just very much tongue in cheek of the idea of Loki. The figure who probably came looked exactly like that mural, where it's like it had the horns, it had the green on, and that's what the kid, because it's a kid. So to a kid, it's like, yeah, it looks the same.
I'm not talking about the person itself. I'm not talking about the person itself. I'm just talking about the mural itself. Like, I think that the mural itself is a clue that we are getting Mephisto in the future, or that Mephisto does exist within the MCU.
See that? I don't know. I can see that, Jamal.
So.
Right.
We need to get Mephisto merch here at GVN or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Like a worse
Mephisto
shirt.
I think WandaVision just scarred all you guys from just believing Mephisto exists.
Create a whole Mephisto podcast.
I feel like they're so distrustworthy. Like, I feel like if Mephisto did get introduced, they would be like, no, it's not Mephisto.
No, that's a fake devil.
Interesting enough, even though when I first saw the trailer, I heard we were getting the Time Lords, I was just like, oh, well, one of their biggest storylines in the comics was that the guy who created the Time Lords sent them on a mission to go stop Mephisto from manifesting all of Wanda's power. That was one of their first big missions, was to go stop Mephisto. So when I saw the trailer and I'm like, Demon in the Glass, I'm like, I just did this with WandaVision. Like, I don't know if I can lend that energy to this, but no, I don't think Mephisto has. I don't think he's going to be in this whatsoever.
Probably not.
I saw people freaking out when Mobius mentioned like there's like a nightmare division, and they were like, "Oh, no." Like, think about it.
Just bad dreams.
Like, you think the division that's fighting somebody who's essentially the Freddy Krueger of the MCU?
Yeah, that's probably a little bit more literal than Yeah, but my big brain theory, just for fun of it, is that like when we get through like a whole year of like Marvel TV shows, we're gonna see that like Mephisto had been planting all these things across all the shows.
It was Mephisto all along.
Exactly. That would just be fun. I just want to see it,
The showrunner and the writer came out and said there is no Mephisto in the show.
They've lied multiple times.
I mean, I've heard actors lie. I've not heard any showrunner or director or writer lie. I've been in the MCU. I've not seen
the first time for everything.
That's all they've been interviewing.
I mean, sure. But think about it also like this. If you knew Mephisto was in your show, we know Feige, and we know he wouldn't have put that in the trailer. He wouldn't have put that in the trailer to where you're just like, oh, well, now I'm looking forward to him. Like, he's very cognizant of that. Think about this. The first Infinity War trailer we got, where it was at the end of the trailer, Hulk was behind Captain America running.
Yeah, they're running.
That's not in the movie.
Right.
Like, he does things like that on purpose. He misleads. So he wouldn't put it in there if it was actually going to be in there.
That would be a little too literal. Like, if you think about like Agnes laughing in the car and doing her cackling laugh, she wasn't like in full witch mode really. So maybe you're onto something there. I don't think they would just come straight out and be like, "Hey, there's the devil." So yeah, I think
Kevin Feige's never been a guy like that. I don't think
they were in a church, so
I mean,
right, but that's what I'm saying.
Coincidental.
Like,
but
if they were
maybe
in a
he
warehouse-
knows that we know that he knows that we know.
You know what's
Top
crazy?
boner.
And that we know.
I thought about this after WandaVision, and I thought to myself, the more we theorize, right? And me more specifically, because I'm the one that does it all the time, the more I think they hear it, and the more I think they're like, I was gonna do it, but now all of you want it. I'm gonna kick that can.
But they've already written it months and months before we even theorized it.
It's okay. They went back to the writing squad and they were like,
No, because
did
it's
you have
already been
Mephisto?
filmed.
They were like, did you have Mephisto on page 55? Scratch that.
Yeah, throw it out.
Like pull
Hey,
episode
throw it out.
2A, publish 2B.
Yep. There you
Did you
go.
not hear what David Ayers saying every day about his Suicide Squad cut that he filmed?
Oh no! Don't compare DC with Marvel.
I'm
Marvel.
I'll do it to the
I'm not
cows come home.
comparing
I
it.
will.
I'm saying that you could film something and then release something completely different.
Yeah, but Marvel sticks with their guns. They ain't gonna change.
I don't know. Hold on, Rough
Just
Boner.
reshot
We forgot about
Falcon
Rough
and Winter
Boner.
Soldier.
Yeah, right.
Huh?
That was
Sorry,
Just
great. I'm
reshot
sorry.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That wasn't the original story.
Well, that was forced. I'm talking about when fans look. DC goes by
fans. Well,
fans.
DC
I'm
didn't do
talking.
it because of fans. They didn't omit Joker because of fans. And if they did, fans suck. Shut your mouth. Anyway.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Yeah, my last thing I would say though, honestly, is that shout out to Josta. I mean, this ain't a Josta, but I was glad that they integrated into it. I hope it has like a what was the thing, the sauce from McDonald's that they did in Rick and Morty where they brought it back.
Oh, yeah. Szechuan.
I hope they bring back Josta Cola. I remember that from my childhood and I want it back just for a little bit. That's all I'm
Yeah.
asking for.
I mean, no, that's very possible. I am also looking forward to seeing more Rick and Morty type of things to come out of this show. Just something trippy.
Aren't we getting another Rick and Morty anyway? This is off topic, but
Yeah, I think it's like a
Yeah,
month.
I think we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Loki starts using sriracha, then it's there.
Yeah. Or if Loki just starts drinking crazily out of nowhere, it's like, yeah.
He
when you
deserves
go
it.
out, It's like, yeah.
Loki deserves a drink.
I agree too. I agree.
Yeah, but no, I think we can all agree we are very excited for this roller coaster of the next 5 weeks that this Loki series will be giving us. To me, I'm just looking for this to be mind-blowing and confusing. I like confusing.
Same.
Just when it does not have to do with time travel or a multiverse. Be confusing.
It literally is the time variance. Time is in the name. There's gonna be time hopping and stuff. So
you're
gonna be confused.
Time hopping is fine. Literal time travel is not. That could get really confusing.
It's a difference.
The difference of time hopping and time travel. Time travel is legit. Time hopping would be. I'm trying to. Because I also, like Ryan, saw episode 2, so I'm trying not to say what I.
Time hopping would be like.
Stop rubbing it.
Stop bragging.
Yeah, jeez.
All right, so
Like
so. Oh, go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say time hopping is like quantum leap, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. And time travel is legit what they did in Endgame.
Yeah.
There's a difference of the two. It doesn't make sense, but that's my point of why it does not need to be in anything. Get it out of here. But anyway, we are looking forward to what else this show has in store for us. Like I said, just be crazy, be insane, be all the fun things. And I will say that part of the press junket that the writer and the showrunner said that threw me off guard, it threw Pete a little off guard in our Figure It Out show, was they kept mentioning David Fincher in Seven being kind of what they kind of went by when they were making this show. And if you know David Fincher and you know the movie Seven, you know that this could go really crazy in so many different ways. For anyone who does not know David Fincher, he very much goes murder mystery kind of style. It's essentially really modern whodunit. So look forward to elements of that to come out of this Loki series. But I want to thank all you guys for joining me. This was a great comeback for us. We were gone for a while. It's good to get you guys back. excuse me, my dad texted me and was like, it's good to see everybody back. Finally, we have the MCR back. I agree. Shout out to Dakota for this beautiful logo here for the MCR. It's funny, I look back, but technically I just have a green screen. You guys actually see the letters.
Wait, guys, really quick. Next Wednesday, we should all wear green. On Wednesdays,
I wore green on purpose today.
Right?
I just so happen to be wearing green. I just put mine on.
This is green. It's a dark green. You can't really tell, but it's a green.
Hulk smash.
I'm not a green guy, so I'll try to
go find a green shirt. Wait,
I honestly don't do colors like at all. It's
I don't think you could wear that
in black.
Black or gray for me.
I don't think you could wear it with your green screen in the background. You just look like a floating head.
I would love to just be a floating head. I would love to
he did that the other day on Figure It Out. I don't know if it was last week or the week before that, where he had some logo on his shit that was obviously still green, and it was all changing the entire episode. It was freaking me out the whole time.
So I don't know if green works out for me, but I'll try to implement green somewhere. Maybe I'll buy the Loki helmet and do everything.
That would be so cool.
That would be cool, dude.
Maybe I'll do that. All right, so maybe I'll do that.
Well, I'm looking at you, Prime, and Ryan, and AJ, and Dom, and Pete.
I got green. I'm wearing, yo. I
don't have anything green.
Damn, I feel it.
AJ, just
right behind you.
Green hat or something. I don't know.
There's green right behind him.
There it is. How good is your eyes, Trayvon?
Damn, yo.
You just honed right in on green. I see it now, but goodness.
What's that like having 20/20 vision?
That's not even 20/20. I have 20/20. He's Superman. That's Superman.
You got 20/20 vision? Like you just wake up and see? Like
I can't believe
weird.
that.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like.
Wow.
Neither do I.
Wait, what was that? I just wake up and see?
Yeah,
you just
that's
wake
weird
up and
to
Be
me.
nice. Must be nice.
Wake up.
The world's not
Blurry
blurry.
vision.
It's not blurry.
I can see great far away.
You don't have to wake up and like feel your way to the bathroom.
Look for your glasses.
Okay,
like
so
this.
I just figured this out. So essentially, half of this panel is Peter Parker before he gets powers and takes off his glasses.
Yep.
Me and Peter Parker.
Raise your hand who's blind here.
I wear glasses and contacts all the
Me
time.
too.
Okay, so disclosure, I do have contacts in, but I'm really great at seeing far away. It's up close after a while. I'm fine for a while.
Okay, so you're cheating.
Eventually.
Okay, so you're part of that group. You have to raise your hand. So it looks like Jamie, Dom, Prime. Did you raise your hand?
Nah.
Okay. So Jamie, me, Dom, and Prime, our eyes, I guess, work fine. I guess what we're saying here. I guess.
I don't know what that's like. Must be
No
nice.
idea.
Yeah,
Must be nice.
craziest thing is on my mom's side, I'm the only one on my mom's side that doesn't wear glasses, and it's the weird. My sister had to wear glasses at like 4. I was just like, "What did you do? What did you do inside of it? Like, what happened to you?" But no. So thank you guys so much. This was a great way to bring back the MCR. Loved our intro. Loved the flow of tonight. We got to get used to these Wednesdays. It's the middle of the week. But we didn't want to have to do a show on Saturday with the world opening back up. People want to use their Saturdays. And it's just weird reviewing something that came out so far in the week.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be doing this every Wednesday. You might see rotating faces. You might see new faces. But just know every week we will be here. Shout out to KJ and Patches. They wanted to be here, could not. Dan didn't get a chance to check out the episode yet. Again, this is the plight of being on Wednesday. So just stick with us, guys. We appreciate you. And stay tuned. Me and AJ might have a giveaway for the MCR viewers. So make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. And just really quickly, I'm going to read it off, everybody. Nerd with the tech. Trayvon has totally changed the look of your page, right, Trayvon?
Yeah, I did. So I don't know. So I changed it, but then I kind of backed away. So I I'm just here to do this right here, right now, and that's pretty much it. Like I don't know about the reactions anymore, honestly, to tell you the truth. So I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do next. I don't really know.
Okay.
You got this.
You're not.
I'm
going to tell you what you're not going to do. You're not going to stop doing reaction videos. So we can start there. And then we'll work from there. So I'm going to call you after this because you're not giving up on that. Next up, Shekinah, we had GVN talk. I am processing the episode. It's just really hard to put it out when I know the hype of Loki this week. Hearing of it. So figure it out, and GVN talk will be released this week. I promise you. It was a very good GVN talk. Jamie joined us. We got a little, fun with it towards the end. Yeah, we got deep. Just brace yourself when you guys listen to it. It's very informative, nothing crazy, but I could see how it would ruffle a few feathers out there, but that's okay. That's what we're here to do. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And also Shekinah is definitely progressing our Instagram page. So make sure you guys are going over there. You're liking, you're commenting. I was going to say subscribe, but you don't do that on Instagram. Sorry.
Follow.
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 Yeah, follow.
Okay. Thank you. So I don't feel completely insane. Make sure you're following, liking, and commenting. Thank you. Also, Dom, what hasn't Dom been doing? I mean, Dom at this point is running for president, and he's just not going to be president. So
I'd vote for you, Dom.
He's got my vote.
Yesterday, I went to a screening for Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. And the whole time I'm watching the movie, I was thinking of Tia because Frank Grillo's in the movie. And so every time I see him,
I know that. That's why I want to see it.
It's very funny. So be on the lookout for that review tomorrow. And I did Quiet Place 2, Spirit Untamed, if you like that sort of thing. And Cruella's still lingering out there. I just got a Cruella poster in the other day. So yeah,
you can tell that to me, Dom.
Juan loves Cruella.
I also will have some Tribeca Film Festival stuff possibly coming up soon. And then I also just got an email about the New Orleans Film Festival, and that's actually in person. So maybe in November I'll be able to take a little trip to New Orleans and do some elbow rubbing and whatnot.
Cool.
We'll try not to elbow rub. That's how we got this whole COVID thing. Put elbow pads on. But no, make sure you guys stay tuned for all that. Dom works extremely hard. Make sure you guys are supporting that. It's funny that you mentioned Frank Grillo being in that because I have been thinking of a way to kind of, how they count up the box office by how many people buy tickets and whatnot. I want to see how many people go to see movies specifically for the actors and actresses that are in it. They have no interest in the movie. They're only there to see the specific actor. I would love to see that because I would love to see.
Juwan, I feel so called out right now.
No,
every movie.
No, because I am interested to see who is the most sought after actor and actress that people are going out to see. Who is that guy or that woman that people are just I want to see them every time I go to the movies. So when Dom said that, I was just I would love to see how many people are just seeing it for people, not the actual movie.
Wait till you read the first couple lines of my review because there's a lot of DC Marvel crossover in this film with the actors. So I got little jokes I threw in.
I do wonder to myself, if they sit and they just go, look at us, just taking over the Marvel.
The Paul Rudd gif when he's on Hot Ones and he's
look at us.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Also, the streaming extraordinaire Jamie, please shout out your Twitch page.
So it's twitch.tv/swiper_prime. And this week is going to be a pretty big week for me as far as streaming. I'm actually an official co-streamer for the Summer Game Fest. So make sure to check that out if you guys are into games and stuff like that. Thank you. It's going to be It's gonna be really fun and probably a really long day for me, but I'm ready. I'm ready for all the announcements and stuff. So yeah, if you guys are into gaming news, check that out. And I'm trying to like put together a little gaming news show on my gaming channel as well for people who don't want to like watch the hours and hours of announcements and performances and in between. So yeah, that's gonna be a good time.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that, mainly because I love to watch these gaming announcements to see how PlayStation just brings out the nice new Ferrari, and then it's
oh
like
my gosh,
out that family van that no one wants to look at, you know. So I like to see how much PlayStation just continuously pulls dumps all over Xbox. And I'm an Xbox guy, so I like to put myself through that torture. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And I wish you all the best covering all that. Me and Joel and well, all of us here have been covering conventions for the longest. And within the first 3 hours, I'm somewhere in a kid's car seat passed out. So like I can imagine. That's the one thing I'm not looking forward to getting back into.
Yeah, I'm like
telling me after 10 minutes, like, hey, you gotta sit down.
I'm like made myself a spreadsheet so I know when to show up, when I can leave, take a nap, and then wake up, gotta get back to it. So I'm trying to manage my time wisely here, but we'll see what happens by the end.
Yeah, I always think that as Tia, I always think like, oh, we planned this out, and then we get there and it's just like, I don't know where I'm going. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm late. I think I missed this panel. So yeah, no, definitely have fun with that, and I'll definitely make sure I stay tuned for that. Tia, you've been crossing over with Kinda Nerdy like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw the post the other day. I'm like, are y'all taking her from us?
No.
But let us know what's going on over there in the world of Tia.
Yes, so actually speaking of the Kinda Nerdy girls, for this week, is top 10. We had KJ and Jonna from the Kinda Nerdy Girls podcast on, and we did the top 10 Chris Evans roles because Chris Evans just needs more appreciation. We don't appreciate him enough, you know, we needed to appreciate him a little bit more. But it was amazing. KJ and Jonna are fabulous, and I loved it. It had such a great time, so please make sure that you check that out. We actually did that as an on-screen top 10, which Brittany and I, my co-host, normally do just audio, so that was a lot of fun. And I also do want to shout out the 2 interviews that I have going on right now. I interviewed Tyler Main from Jupiter's Legacy, so that's on our YouTube page right now. And I also interviewed Bashir Sylvain, who will be in the 2nd season of Black Summer on Netflix, which is this like zombie show, and he's in episode 5. And honestly, one of the best interviews I've ever done, just because he was just such a fantastic person. So please make sure you check that out. But yeah, I had a great time, and don't worry, Joanne, GVN's my home. The Kinda Nerdy girls may try, but they will never take me.
I'm very glad for that. Hands off, Kinda Nerdy, okay? Hands off.
Really quick, sorry. I did want to say, Dom, you are killing it right now with your reviews. That is amazing. I want to give a quick shout out also to Marty, who just did another GVN Talking Comics, and that's on our YouTube. And Shekinah, you are doing an amazing job with our Instagram, so thank you so much for that as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We need a top 10 things we love about Carl Urban. That's someone who needs more love out there.
You know what? If we do that, you better make some time in your schedule to join, because I can't have a top 10 about Carl Urban without you.
As long as I can do 1 through 10 on my own, and you guys,
I'll be fine with that. I'll just be the host. I did that one time actually. For Marty and Kathy, they want to do a top 10 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 7. I was like, I've never watched this episode ever, but if you want, you can come on and I'll be essentially the host. So if you want, you could do 1 through 10, Carl Urban.
Yeah, I have so many nice things to say about Carl Urban. He'll notice me one day. You know, I get
one day.
Next up, Pete's Basement is back with a vengeance. They are killing it. I watched the newest episode, Pete. I got a shout out in that. GVN also got a shout out. And then Pete immediately big brothered me with the quick slap on the face to go with the compliment. But no, Pete, I'm glad
I have to keep things balanced. Can't let you get a swelled head. Back, what's that?
No, I'm glad to have you back, man.
Dude, it feels really good to be back. Like to be able to actually get the boys down in the basement again and to actually shoot a show like we used to do and just have the round table that is not round be, the center of attention again. I mean, the Zoom calls are fantastic, but it doesn't beat having people here to be able to talk shop and everything. And it's fantastic to be back. We had our first new episode this past week that's up on PetesBasement.com and on our YouTube channel. And yes, Juwan, I mean, I've had so much fun and you've honestly given me the kick in the ass that I've needed so desperately over the course of the last year to really get back into it and not let, the channel just go by the wayside and get me back into podcasting and doing this thing that I really do love so much. So thank you for that in and of itself, straight compliment. You do run a great show. And, although you are like 10 years old, so it has, we got to kind of educate you and guide you along. It is what it is. But, for real, bro, thank you for everything. And, just it feels really great to be back. We got a great interview with Jerry Moff, his Kickstarter that benefited Chinatown and all the small businesses there. Like this dude was just literally going with money in an envelope, donating money to small businesses in Chinatown, which is like pretty dope. Like no charities, no online donations. Like this is what your stretch goals are going to. So I kicked in on that and we had a great interview. And then right after that, we had our first new episode and there's more to come. And there's going to be great things coming in the basement. And it's just good to be back. Salud.
Absolutely, man. There was no way I could let the world go without hearing from Pete. So to have a chance to podcast with you and get things back going, man.
Well, let's get you across the river. Come on over. Pizza's on me.
Gladly, man. Gladly. We're supposed to be connecting for if we have a New York Comic Con.
I'll be there at least one day. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I usually only do like a Saturday. I can't. All those people.
There's just so many people and so many smells. Yeah. Just the cornucopia.
Yes,
smells.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm going to tell you this now. I know for a fact, and this is why I might even skip New York Comic Con this year. Kids are allowed. And the first kid that's
only on Sunday. Well, I mean, not only, but like Sundays are like the kids' days. Yeah. Right. So if you go Saturday, there's less children.
All right, because I'm telling you, the first sneeze, and I'm going Kingsman in that church, in that I'm telling you, I'm going madman. I don't do that. There's something specific about when kids sneeze that I just find.
Because they're gross. Kids are disgusting.
Yeah, kids are disgusting. Yeah. Sticky for no reason. It's not everywhere. No.
Don't be covering their nose. Don't be nothing. Just
and they're just extra with it, like the tongue out, and it's like the spit from your nose wasn't enough. You got to do it with your mouth too.
Kick the kid, punch the parent. I'm justified.
Come on, man. If quarantine was just COVID would have been solved like 5 months into last year.
Agreed.
Put all the kids in one spot, let them get each other sick.
Like they used to do with chicken pox in the 80s.
There you go. Look at that. Look at that.
What is happening?
Juwan, just go to your Comic-Con in like a hazmat suit and you'll be fine.
Yeah, just get one of those hamster balls to walk in. Like, hey, everybody.
and if anyone questions it, just say you're cosplaying as Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, no. Then that'd be hilarious. Somebody freaks them out like, oh, I got a pin.
Freak out. I would freak out. Be exposed to all those nasty people. Anyway, Prime, you guys actually had me on to talk
Training Day.
Yes. I got a lot of heat for that. I got calls from my dad. I didn't raise you this way. Like, it got real.
Why do you not like Training Day?
I just think it's overrated. That was it.
He gave a very compelling argument. I mean,
I'm gonna have to listen.
I don't agree with him, but his rating was kind of low on the movie. Me and my co-host both got on about that, but yeah, that was so much fun. And I think we're gonna do it again. Something we're gonna talk about. Get you back for maybe the top 5 actors or something like that.
Yeah,
when we get to that point. But we don't have much going on, man, right now. Obviously, NBA playoffs right now. LeBron and Lakers are gone, so we're still talking about that. We just had the coaches of the year, coach of the year, and player of the year just announced this week. So we'll get more into that this coming week. And then we're still trying to figure out on the entertainment side, the movie side, what's up next. Getting several requests on running back for like Set It Off, New Jack City, Goodfellas. So we will get to all of those. Just a matter of which one is next. But yeah, just so much fun, man. So we got a few things coming, and I got a new segment that's going to be coming. It's not a new segment. It's a segment I haven't done in about a year called SBP. It's kind of what we already do, but more shorts and more guests involved. So I'll keep you, tuned, updated on that.
Absolutely, can't wait, and I really appreciate you guys having me on there. They did sun me, Pete, the way that you and JD do all the time. I very much felt like the kid trying to sit at the grown-ups table. Like that. You know what? We used to always pick on AJ because he was always the youngest out of everybody in GVN. But now I'm being exposed to other groups, and it's like I'm the youngest, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
We just trying to teach you, man. Prime, tell
I get it. I get it. And
No doubt.
You know what makes it worse? I log off with you guys and then get phone calls from Dad like, hey, listen, kid, and it's like, goodness, everywhere, huh?
You know how I feel. You know how I feel
do,
now.
AJ, and I regret nothing I did to you. Anyway, Ryan, what do you got going over there, Ryan?
Honestly, burning the candle at both ends, professionally, and then podcast wise, some of that burning the candle is coming off, and we're going to be back to podcasting, I think, before the end of this month. So keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, always go and check out @Ryan's_ramblings for my Twitter, and then at the Nerd Rage Pod. And that's where you're going to find all of our stuff about news and what's to come. So, and then we got to have you on, man.
Absolutely. Look, I've just now figured out I podcast with Joel Monday. I do Figure It Out Tuesday. I now will be doing this Wednesday. Then I have GVN Talk on Friday. At some point, I will start to go insane. So I'm trying to figure out a way to where I'm like making Thursdays count to where I'm just resting. So maybe Saturday, Sunday, or maybe I just dedicate Saturday and Sunday, and Thursday I can open.
Sanity is overrated anyway.
Saturday is over.
Once you get past
sanity.
Sanity. No,
sanity.
No, because honestly, Pete, I thought you said Saturday was overrated. I was like, once you get to a certain age, Saturday really is overrated. Like I'm 31, and I'm like, who cares about Saturdays?
Yeah.
About Saturday.
I'd punt a baby to be 31 again.
That's because you guys are like below 25. I was the same way, going to the bars and everything.
AJ's the only one here that's 15 years old, so like he really appreciates.
Hey, I work on Saturdays.
Yes, we know, AJ, your paper routes. We know you work on Saturdays. We Look, there's no one else I can use the age jokes on, AJ. Sorry. I gotta upload the clip.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
But I'll definitely figure out a way to get on more of your podcast, Ryan.
Totally. All right. And I'll probably have a couple of Loki figures behind me next week for the next episode too, just to keep with the spirit of everything.
Oh, perfect. I actually, Pete, I pre-ordered that TVA Loki 6-inch figure with him in the TVA brown suit.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be here by next week. If not, I'll have it for the week after.
Cool.
But last but definitely not least, AJ, you've been doing stuff with Filmatrix. Literally every podcast on planet Earth you've been a part of. But also we have to get back to doing our Bad Batch reviews.
Yeah.
We've missed the last 2 weeks, and it's been getting pretty good. So we got to make sure we jump back on there. But what else you got going on, AJ?
That's about it, honestly. I just been more focused on work more than anything. But yeah, we do need to get back on the Bad Batch stuff because it's getting crazy.
Yeah. And AJ was very excited to go back to the theater. He did a double feature, but that's AJ. That is AJ. So I'm glad you're getting back to your I don't want to say safe haven, but like
my second home, basically.
Yeah. But I know how much you love it, so I'm glad you're getting back to that. I'll never trust it again. As long as they keep hiring high schoolers to clean the theaters, I'll never step foot in a movie theater again. But thank you guys so much. We will put everybody's links to everything that they've said today in the bio of this episode. So make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. And please, everybody's name their podcasts and their handles. Follow, like, subscribe, comment, become one of their community. These are all great people who contribute so much to everything that we do. Show them love, please. And again, thank you to you. Thank you to everyone who is a part of this. Listener Jim said he's missed having the MCR. And we appreciate you, listener Jim. So that's all we got. We will see you guys next Wednesday. It's a crazy one, so I can't wait to see what you guys
stop bragging.
We'll see
for this next episode. And we're gonna have a no Mephisto talk kind of ban here. We're not allowed to mention.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that.
And everyone, make sure they wear green next Wednesday.
Yes.
And I'll try to find my Loki crown.
I won't be here next Wednesday. I was lucky enough to be here today.
Oh, no, that's right. You did say you got off early. That is right. Tell them you have more important things in life going on. You can toss me through that doors any other day.
I'd rather skip work than.
Just get a different bike route, AJ. It'll be fine. Thank you all for joining us on a new MCR. We will see you same time, same place next week. Till then, peace.